to Insta Live episode 2. Let's go. Oh, frozen it. Unfortunate. Is she coming? Oh, here we go. She's in.
Hey,
hi.
Hi.
Hello. How are we doing? Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I can hear you all good. Yeah,
all
can
good.
you hear us? Cool.
Yes. A little bit delayed, but all good.
How's the summer? Is your first day back in the office today?
Yeah, it's been nice. Yeah, first day back in the office. Getting ready for all hands on deck. New term starting, so
Cool. Well, listen, obviously just want to introduce you into our AH Live series. You are our second guest, and we basically
an honor.
It's what we really wanted to capture is that everyone's journey and story is different, and what you may study in university may lead you on a completely different direction in a work kind of capacity and lead you into something completely different. And obviously I've worked with you for a very long time, and I think you just got a great story to tell, and I think it would give people a lot of confidence out there who have had a similar or could have a similar journey to you. So our first burning question is sort of tell us your story and how did you find your sort of current job and where you are at now today?
Sure. So yeah, as you mentioned, we've say again.
I said, where do we begin?
Yes, where do we begin? Sorry, I think my connection's a bit poor. Yes, I've been working with you, Zoe, for, maybe nearly 10 years, is it?
Yeah.
So I'm a bit of a creative, which I think you know. Well, I know you know. So I've done lots of temping over the years to kind of go alongside the creative things that I do. So that's been a really wonderful way to sort of dip my toe into different industries and meet lots of different interesting people, which I've really loved. And then sort of came to conclusion that I'd like to get something with a bit more stability. It sort of told me about my current role, and I thought, why not, go for it, give it a go. And really, really wonderful place to be, and I'm really happy, and I'm really grateful for all the support you've given me over the years.
And Alice, when we were chatting about the lives, your name came up a few times because you've got such an interesting story, and time that go in with that before. What would you say have been the biggest challenges or struggles that you've had, in the process of finding jobs and working and doing different things?
Yeah, I think probably the struggle that I've had would be perhaps not having the confidence, thinking that I wasn't perhaps able for whatever reason, and then kind of thinking, well, so many people sort of take the leap and then often learn, and you have to kind of give yourself those challenges. And have faith, and obviously do your research and make sure you're prepared. Don't just go, I thought it, But yeah, I think it's overcoming that sort of lack of self-confidence, definitely, and taking the leap, as it were.
Cool. And then just taking it back a bit in terms of temping, and I think it would be great for listeners out there to sort of have a bit of an understanding of your experience of it, and also how that kind of complemented what you were doing back then, and I guess the lessons that you've learned from that to now take into your job today.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously, when you work in lots of different roles as a temp, with lots of different environments, you learn to kind of adapt fairly quickly, and you learn to kind of assess your environment and kind of stay calm and observant rather than panic and speaking up and always asking questions. It's obviously so important, but just taking a step back to observe. And I think that's certainly something that I learned over the years. And again, just having that kind of faith in yourself certainly helps. And one thing would definitely be, I learned to kind of draw up a kind of checklist of things to check within certain roles, a kind of temping Bible, I suppose, which can be very helpful walking into perhaps a really busy environment where you've been brought in, kind of thrown in the deep end. It gives you kind of those foundations you need to, really smash the role that you've been put into as much as, do the best you possibly can.
Yeah, and I always think on the temp side.
I'm not sure if that answered your question, sorry.
It's always a funny one on the temp side, because I don't feel like enough people sort of know the positives and pros of it. And sometimes it's one of those things where if you don't know what you want to do, it can take you on a journey and open up different avenues and explore sort of different opportunities that potentially you wouldn't have done, on paper back.
Absolutely.
Journey.
Yeah.
So
no, absolutely. I couldn't recommend it enough. I mean, I suggest it to many of the students here at Quest. If they're not too sure about what they want to do, I say, give temping a go, because you get to explore.
You're completely different. Oh, just losing you there for a bit. Reconnecting. Got you back. But I remember you temping out in kind of all sorts of different things, finance and property, and completely probably out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
But as you said, it's given you a lot of skills, and you've got your own sort of Bible that you can now bring in, that you've now got in your current role. So it's just I think you've got a great story there where you've really sort of got your old, your toolkit, and you've now brought it into your now permanent long-term role.
Absolutely.
When we spoke to you, when we were speaking about you, Alice, behind your back.
All we do is talk.
The name extensive, and it was good to hear, because some of my candidates who are unsure about it will say, "Oh, but I'll be lacking, that kind of." Different elements, whereas actually some people do it, like yourself, have done it for a while and then found a permanent role. If you're giving advice for anyone who's maybe a bit more junior than yourself and is thinking about temping, I know we've slightly covered that already, but for the more junior side of things, what would you be saying? Just be open, or what would you say?
I would say be open, trust in Anderson Hall. I think obviously just have that trust in yourself as well. Even though you're very junior, you will learn on the job. Just try and think about the those really basic things, like how you present yourself, timekeeping, trying to sort of show willingness to roll your sleeves up and get stuck in type thing. Again, ask questions, but try and think about whether you know. This is something I found when I was first starting out temping. I'd often panic and ask questions and not think, hang on, do I know the answer before asking? So I think that's a really important thing, because if it's a busy environment, you're going to perhaps rile up.
So I think that takes time in environments. That's great advice.
Always have a paper and a pen to hand. And
Absolutely.
it's really silly, like a passcode or anything like that, just jot it down, because you're absorbing so much information at the beginning of these kind of journeys that little things like that can just at the time seem really irrelevant, but probably the most important thing when you need that.
Absolutely.
Get into some.
Absolutely. And on that note, excuse the pun, I would say try and make brief notes, buzzwords, keywords, rather than trying to jot down panicking, in a panicked state, everything that's being instructed or asked of you. just so then you can go back and it's not kind of just scribbles of panic.
You know where it's come from. Well, no,
Yeah.
like a real take home from your story is almost to trust the process. I think that's really, really key. And I think, you know, from if you kind of look back, you know, even 5-6 years ago and look at where you are now, it's you probably would never have guessed that you would be here, right?
Probably not. Yeah.
Cool.
Definitely trust the process, absolutely. And I think just yeah, like we're kind of agreed on, you know, just stay calm as possible. Obviously, that's so much easier to say than do in a lot of cases. But just yeah, just go in calm, listen, and you've got this, you know.
Amazing. Oh, well, listen, Alice,
Awesome.
thank you so much for coming
Alice.
on.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Thank you.
Really,
Pleasure. Thanks for having me.
and we have a great story, and it's thank you for sort of being an advocate for the temp side.
Not at all. Thanks, guys. All the best. Anytime.
Well, we'll catch up later, but thanks so
Brilliant.
much.
Thanks, Alice.
All right. Thanks, guys. Have a lovely evening.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay.
Yeah, awesome.
That's it.
Cool, guys.
There we go. So that's episode 2 in the bag with the lovely Alice. I hope that's been useful. Quite different from our first episode.
Very different. Yeah.
But it just goes to show that
different paths.
Yeah.
Different paths. Everyone has a different path.
Yeah, and that is kind of the message we've got at the moment, that
Big time.
everyone has a different job story, and you know, there's no right or wrong.
Exactly.
So
there's no right or wrong, and you do think that when you're maybe because I'm a bit younger, you do think that there is a right way, but there isn't, and it works itself out as long as you work hard. But yeah, it works itself out. Cool.
Cool.
Brilliant.
Thanks, guys. On to episode. And now.
Yeah.